Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Split Decision. You're joined here with me, Taku, and Parrot to my left. And we are very excited to welcome a very special guest, AJ Majok, from the New Zealand Breakers and the US Monster. I can't say it. But welcome to The Split Decision.
Hey, thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
And before we get into it, obviously we have to mention our sponsors, Cremlon. I'm repping it today. They have their tracky pants out, and obviously all of that stuff is on their website, so it'll be linked down in the description. And also make sure you're checking out the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter. Make sure you're subscribing to the new YouTube channel, and yeah, let's get straight into it. So our first question is: you were born in Sudan and migrated to Sydney. Could you sort of talk to us a bit about that?
Yeah, I was born in Sudan, and then due to the civil war that was going on, we moved. I was one of the, most kind of like fortunate ones to, have the luck to actually move to Australia. Yeah, and, I moved to Australia at a young age and been living, in Australia ever since.
So when you were younger, do you remember like the first time you played basketball, or like your first memory of having a basketball?
Yeah, I was 14. First time playing basketball, I was 14. It was actually in Sydney. I was actually a volleyball player. At that point, like before 14 years old, I never touched a basketball. I mean, I watched people play, but I never touched a basketball. I didn't even know the rules of basketball. It was, volleyball, soccer. Yeah. And then one day my cousin was like, yo, like, I want, this coach, wants you to come down, and just kind of like try it out. At this point, I'm, like, I was like 6'7", 6'6", 6'7", 14-year-old. And I went down there, and they put me in the practice. And after the first, it was brutal. It was brutal practice. And after the first 15 minutes, I was like, this is not for me. And then the coach came, he was American, and he was like, listen, just try it out. I think you'll be really good. You'll be suited for this. Like, you got the touch, you got everything like you need. And he just told me, anytime you catch a ball, just dunk it. Every time you catch a ball, just dunk it. Don't think, don't do anything. And then we were playing. The next 2 days later, we had a game. I think it was like under 16s. It was like not reps, but it was under 16 local comp. And I actually dunked the ball on our own hoop. Yeah, and it was just, I mean, it was a pretty nasty dunk. But the coach was like, yeah, the coach was happy because the coach was like, I don't care, like, that's what I want to see. Like, I want you to be like so aggressive and nasty with it. So, and ever since then, it's just like I fell in love with basketball. Yeah, and it just took it from there. It just went from there.
That's great. And 6'7" at 14. I'm like 5'10" at 18. Like I need
barely making 6 foot.
I need a bit of height. So
yeah.
So growing up, did you ever hit this like realizations like, oh, I can take this pro?
So like when I first played the first few years, it was like it wasn't so much I can take it pro. It was so much playing. It was just loving to play and loving to win. I didn't know if I can play pro. I didn't know anything about the next level. I couldn't even tell you if you would have asked me who was on which team at that time, who was a superstar, who I couldn't tell you nothing. And then I remember I took my first trip when I was I think like 15. I took my first trip. We got invited to play in the summer league, the high school summer league games in Las Vegas. And I went in there and I just saw like, the limelight, KD. You see KD showing up in a nice tour bus. they came with DC Assault. You saw Gray Golden, OJ Mayo, they're all showing up nice. They got their team, the cameras, the light, and I was just like, wow, like this is what it's about, huh? And then I made up my mind that right then and there, like this is what I want to do. But even at that point, I wasn't like I would be professional. It was just more like I'm trying to get a scholarship because I want to go to the college in the States. Yeah, and then I went back home, and then the coach sat me down, and I remember I met Frank Fischilla that summer. I don't know if you guys know him. He works for ESPN. He's the announcer for ESPN.
Oh, okay.
So Frank Fischiller, and I met a whole bunch of basketball analysts, and they were like, "Wow, like for a person who's been playing for like 11 months, man, what's going on? Like you got something special." And I went back home 2 weeks later, and I was just like, "This is what I want. I want to go to college," And then the next day, the coach he called me. He was like, "Listen, you want to make it so bad?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "What you willing to do for it?" I told him, "Shit, I'll do anything." He's like, "All right, from now on, we practice at 4 a.m. every day, 7 days a week, no days off."
Yeah.
And then I did that for a year. Then we got invited to a couple of tournaments in the States. And I got invited to a couple of camps, like I got invited to 5-star camp. And I remember I was a team captain at that point. And we went to the States. We were playing in we played in the Pangos All-American game. And in the Pangos, it's like a McDonald's All-American, but it's a little bit more smaller.
Okay, yeah.
I made the All-Star team, and it was like a lot of people talking about me. I had kids coming up that want to take pictures and all, and I was just loving it. Then after that, we went to a tournament, Las Vegas Showcase, and it was like they put us in, like they have, because you have like the AAU system, you have 500 teams show up to a tournament, and then they'll have different brackets. So they'll have like A, B, C, D, like groups, levels.
Okay.
So we were on the D level. They put us in the D level, because they didn't have any respect for us. You have all these tall players. Like we weren't even the tallest team there. So, and then we had, a bunch of Aussie guys, with long hair, looking weird, looking funny. So nobody respected us. All the teams would show up and like they didn't give us no respect. We just handled them the business. Like I remember we had a team meeting. The night before the game, we had a team meeting and we just like, listen, we're gonna go out there and fight. Like it's not about being pretty. We were like representing Australia. We took it personal because it was just like the treatment that we were getting. We went out there. First game we played, I think we won by like 40.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and then we ended up. They pushed us up to the B. Like after the first game, they pushed us up to the B group. We played in the B group, killed it. They moved us up to the A group. Now in the A group, we played Ty Lawson, whoever, like you name it, everybody who's in the NBA right now, like they were, Victor Oladipo was there, like everybody. So in the A level, I remember we played. So the first team we played against in the A level was Texas Longhorn. So they had a couple of guys that were really good that went to University of Texas, and the shortest guy on the team was 6'4".
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But they had 7-footers everywhere and stuff. So we got smacked. Then we faced DC Assault. We lost them by 60. And then I remember, for me personally, it was like we had the next game, the third game in the A group was against Kevin Love. He played for the LA team. And I remember they were playing, like they had us pressed. So I caught the ball. Yeah, so, from there on, I had schools offer me. I went to school in Virginia, and when I got there, we had our first game against like one of the big prep schools. And I remember like I played in a small town. It was literally one street, one school. It wasn't a big town. And I remember I had like Duke, Mike Krzyzewski, Jim Calhoun, you name it. Everybody was there.
Good old
And after the game, I remember I had it was like almost like 60, 70 scholarships.
Oh shit.
Offers.
Bowling.
Yeah. And then, it was just the process of going through which school I wanted to go to. And I had, Kansas, UCLA, USC, Duke, North Carolina. I had everybody, UConn, Syracuse. And for me, I knew that I wanted to go like big time. I wanted to go big, like the big school. It wasn't
Big
about
school,
like,
yeah.
I would, yeah. So I started kind of like removing a lot of the schools and, telling them that I wasn't interested. Then I ended up going to Baylor. I signed with Baylor, and I was supposed to go to Baylor because they had a good program at the time, and like it was more like a Christian school, because my family, my father wanted me to go to like a Christian school, and then 2 weeks later, I took a visit to UConn, and I changed my mind. Yeah.
So sort of we back up a bit. So you got that offer to go to America, play high school. Did you have to sort of leave your family and go there by yourself?
Yeah. I mean, it was it was part of the sacrifice. It was just like, this is what you got to do. You got to grow up. You got to leave your family. And when I got there, I had a host family who was taking care of me. They were in Washington D.C., but I was in another city. But it's all part of the sacrifice of how bad you want it.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, taking it back a bit more again. So you attended the American International School in Carlingford, where you graduated. Like, how was that like basketball experience for you there?
I mean, at first when I got there, the school was a weird school. It was a very small school. We didn't wear a uniform.
Damn.
We didn't, it was very weird. And I'm used to going to like strict schools, and it was very relaxed. It was very American system. It was a lot of American kids. And I remember that we had a school team, but our center at the time was like 6'2". Before I got there. And when I got there, and I was just like, yeah, we need to change this. We need to change this around. We ended up giving out more scholarships. We made the school give out more scholarships to get more basketball players. So, and then we played in our first tournament. We killed it, which is I think it was like the special schools zone or something like that. So it was basically like you got the American school, Jewish school, like a whole bunch of different schools that are not normally in the school system in Australia. We ended up killing it. Then we went to it was like the school zone, like the state school tournament. I ended up killing that, and yeah.
That's huge. And then looking back at your time at high school, sort of what were the major highlights for you?
Oh man, major highlights. My school years. I'll say, well, when I was in American school, I remember in the championship game, I scored 63 points. And I was, it was literally, so it was like 3 real basketball players, and then we had to fill up the rest of the team.
Scrubs, just
what the point guard got hurt. The point guard got hurt.
Damn.
And then I was playing the power forward. So at that point, I had to like play point power forward.
Okay.
You know, and I was just like, I remember I told my boy, like he was my teammate at the time. His name is Arul Cook. He ended up going to the States, and he went to high school there, and he ended up going to college. And I told him, I was like, bro, it's me and you. We can't lose this. And he was like, yeah, but I'm tired. I'm in foul trouble. Like he was out of it. So I was just like, coach called me aside, and he was just like, show who you are. Like, just go out there, do what you got to do. Like, we stopped running plays. We just basically we came up with a system of it was like we had the system. I don't know if y'all know Phoenix.
Yeah.
6 seconds.
Yeah, the 7 seconds or less
or
offense.
less.
Yeah.
So so we had the 6 seconds or less offense. So it was just like we played defense like crazy, full court press. You turn the ball over, we're going up for a layup. You shoot the ball, rebound. Whoever catches the rebound pushes the ball and goes up for a layup. If you get stopped, one pass shot. That's how we were going. And we ended up winning the game by 1 point in double overtime.
Jesus.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
1 point in overtime.
63 points in high school. That's what's fucking blown my mind.
Yeah.
That's like Lonzo Ball stats. LaMelo Ball
What?
stats.
Nah.
Didn't he drop 60 points?
I mean, but it was fun though. Like for me, it was it was like enjoying basketball, and it was it was like no restrictions. It was like no limitations. It's just like I could do anything. And then sometimes people don't understand when people have these type of games. There's a level of focus that you can come about once every couple of years, once in a lifetime. I've had those moments, a couple times in my life where it's like you can throw the ball up backwards and it'll go in. That's the level of focus you got. It's not about it's not about anything. It's just you gotta be focused on that day. Like you have to have something that inspires you. You know what I'm saying? And for me, my inspiration at that point, it was just because I was playing against some players that I knew, and how bad I wanted the championship, and that was my inspiration. If something inspires you so bad, and you just kind of like go out there, and your focus level is in a whole different level.
And I think Kobe sort of talked about like I think I forgot what he called it, but it's like when you're in that space, you don't want to then break that space by knowing you're in that space. It's just keep going, keep doing what you're doing to stay in that space.
Yeah,
and like just go off.
Yeah, some people call it.
Yeah. Now you don't ever double think yourself. You just
you do it.
At the time, like that mental space. It's like you kind of some people can train it to bring it at will. And it's like something like I remember that day. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember somebody pissed me off. And I was really, really mad. And I was like, I didn't know what happened. So when I went into the stadium, I wasn't talking to nobody. I didn't want to see nobody. I got on the court, and I remember just looking at the trophy. I just remember looking at the trophy, and that's all I wanted. I wasn't thinking about schoolwork. I wasn't thinking about what I was having for dinner. I wasn't thinking about nothing except that trophy and on the court. That's it. I wasn't even thinking about the shots I was taking. That's how crazy it was.
just business.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot what people call it. I forgot what it's called. Anyway, moving on. So you're also Defensive Player of the Year and a top 5 state player MVP throughout your high school career. Like, what did those like awards mean to you?
I mean, those are basically like, when you're in the Army, you get your stripes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I look at it. For me, like I look at it as like stripes. I'm the type of person like, okay, I get one award, that's me getting one stripe, and I'm like, all right, well, what else do I need to do to get the next stripe? You know what I'm saying? Right. What I don't sit there and sit and celebrate. I have a 24-hour celebration on anything, and then we on to the next one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. They mean a lot now. Getting older, And looking back and just sitting down and going to my mom's house and looking at the trophy case, looking at the jerseys that I've played for, and it's just like, wow, you know. But back then it was just like hunger.
Yeah, you always want to go into the next thing. You know, you want to be the most successful. I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
like mentality to have. You know, because
Yeah, you can't dwell on it.
That's what drives the greatest. That's what drives some of the greatest. You know, Kobe
So
always
then,
had that.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that like it wasn't so much like the trophies that motivated me,
Yeah.
but it was the people that were talking.
Oh, the haters,
You know,
definitely.
I loved it when people said he couldn't do it.
You got to do
You
one of
know,
those ones when you win.
nah. This is the thing. I never come out. This is the first time I'm actually
Yeah.
coming out with this. I've never told anybody that was motivating me because I didn't want them to stop talking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, I remember at one point, I remember when I was getting recruited and I was in the States, you know, I went online, you know, just to look up, you know, news
Hate
and stuff
comments
that
for
was
you.
people. Yeah, and there was a lot of blogs, you know, that people were talking, and I literally printed them out, and I still have the board and I put them right in my room. Like, you know, people were saying, "Oh, he's not gonna make it. He's this. He's skinny. He's this. He's that. Whatever." You know, and even people that I was playing with, you know, in Australia, they were saying a lot of comments that was like pretty hurtful, and I was just like, I'll literally wake up every day before I went to sleep, and when I wake up in the morning, I'll just look at it, you know, and
Yeah.
before you know it, you know, I was killing it, you know.
That's like that meant that drive to sort of just like prove them wrong, and then like just like when you just know it's like not everyone has to believe in you, but you just know in your mind like I'm gonna do it if you believe in me or not, sort of thing.
Yeah,
We
you know,
make it.
self belief is very necessary. You know, believing in yourself, self belief and confidence that you know you can do it.
Yeah.
You know, also you got to be. I'm almost like I believe in myself to the moon and back, but then I'm the first person to criticize myself if I mess up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's like it's you know it's two ways. Um, you know, it can't be just always believing, because now people are gonna say that you're arrogant, you don't listen, you don't obey, you don't, you know, then it becomes negative, you know. But then also you gotta believe in yourself. But then also when things are not going right and you mess up, you gotta be like, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
This is how I'm gonna fix
Exactly.
it. You know.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I get you. So then, you sort of alluded to this before, but you also played volleyball and soccer, where you're also selected to the all-state team for these sports. Like, how do you like sort of remember playing volleyball and soccer during high school?
I mean, even when I started playing basketball, I was still playing volleyball and soccer. You know, because my mom played volleyball, my dad played soccer, and you know, it was just like the family thing. It was a family tradition. You know, I did make all state in all three sports in different times and different schools. Um, you know, but it was just like for me, those kind of became more, you know, kind of like more okay. I'm good at it, so I'm gonna just go play. You know, it would be like
Yeah.
my friend would be like, "Oh, you know, we need you to join the team because we don't have a good midfielder. You know, you know, come play." You know, so
Oh
I would
yeah.
just be like, "All right, cool. Like I got spare time. Shit, I need to get in shape, so I might as well go play." You know,
Right.
So what position were you playing during soccer?
I'm a midfielder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Para
Yeah.
did get slept on for all-state left back. So.
I was a baller at left back. I'm telling you, I was like a young Roberto Carlos. You know,
Oh, allow it.
Yeah.
I
Young
was a
Roberto
young
Carlos.
master, young Roberto Carlos. Anyway, so but before, so you talked about like your drive and stuff. But like, what was the drive before you declaring to like go to the draft and stuff? Like, what was the process? Like your thought process behind that in April, like on 2009 NBA draft.
Okay. Okay. So confession time, right? This is the first time I'm telling the
Confession
story.
time.
Hey, put this in exclusive. Put this in
This
exclusive.
is nah. You know what? I'm gonna tell, because people don't know this. It's actually gonna be part of my book that I'm gonna write, because I do have unique experiences around the world.
Yeah.
You know, I've been to 40 plus countries, played in 20 plus countries.
Yeah.
You know, my draft process was one of weird and turns, and so like I finished in Gold Coast, I remember, and I left the team, and I was just like, you know what, I need to get ready for the NBA draft. This is my dream. I went to the States. I was working out, and I remember I was just like, my agent, he'd come to my house every day because I was living in Washington D.C. at the time, and he'd just be like, every time he's like, none of the teams want to look at you.
Damn.
Like it's pretty difficult to open, you know, for them to open the door and give you a workout, or, you know, give you an interview or whatever, because it is a job. You got to interview for it. You got to, you know, you got to go show your resume, you know, do a workout. And I was just like, oh, okay. Like at the point at the time I wasn't looking at it. I was just more like, okay, work out. Then I remember then I got invited to this training camp in Houston with John Lucas. So it's like they're bringing all the players that teams didn't want to look at, or teams don't, you know, it's like, okay, whatever, like those guys are not good enough. And they bring them in, and then all the teams will come and watch. The workout is actually on YouTube. You know, I came in and I killed it. You know, I killed it. Then still, like when my agent walks up to GM, they just like, oh, you know, he's okay, but we're not interested. You know, and that was like, it was like very hurtful, because even the Washington Wizards, I lived right around the corner from the stadium, and I used to go to their facilities to work out, and they all know me by name.
Yeah.
They didn't even want to give me a workout. You know, so it was just like hurtful, and that was like the motivation. And then I got invited to, you know, do the workout, because I killed in the workout, and I played as an international player. So I qualified in the draft as an international player. I got invited to Treviso to Eurocamp.
Okay.
You know, and I went to the Eurocamp, and you know, the Eurocamp basically, like, first day, you know, it's like a camp. It's like a 3-day camp. So you do workouts, play games, and then you have the top players from all over the world. You have teams from all over the world that come in, and, you know, you have everybody in there. Like all the NBA teams are there, all the EuroLeague teams. First day, they put me in as a center. And I remember I got punched in the face, elbows, and I wasn't ready for that. You know, I wasn't ready for that. And you know, I remember going back into the room, like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't shower, didn't do nothing. I just fell asleep. Woke up at 3 a.m. I just sat by the bed, like I didn't even know what was going on with me. Like TV wasn't on, wasn't talking to anybody. It was just me by myself in my room. And then I remember my agent, like, he called me at like 7 a.m., knocked on my door. He's like, oh, you ready to go to breakfast? And I was like, yeah. And he looked at me, he's like, yo, what's wrong with you? I was just like, I don't know. Like, you know, and he sat down and he was just like, you know, it's not under the world. And he just gave me like you know, a friend talk. You know, and when he gave me the talk, it was just like, I broke down. You know, because at that point it was just like, okay, I felt like the whole world was against me. You know what I'm saying? At the point, and I just broke down. Like I literally broke down like a baby crying. First time in my life, I never cried, and I just broke down. And I remember he was just like, all right, I'll be back in a few minutes. He said, I'll be back at 9 to pick you up to go to breakfast. You know, for training camp, you know, the next day, second day. And I remember I closed the door, and I literally sat and prayed. I literally sat and I just started praying. And I just said, God, this is all I want. This is all I need you today. Out of every day in my life, I need you. And I just prayed for 30 minutes, you know, and just went downstairs. We had breakfast. And I remember I went into the camp. And because I did so bad the next day, they started me on the bench this time. You know what I'm saying? Like even the drills, I was the last person. They put me in the back of the line. They started me on the bench. And I remember when we came to the scrimmage part, like whenever it came to the drill section, I would kill. But then whenever we came to like being on the court, you know, I wasn't doing well because I was out of position. And I don't know what was wrong with me, stage fright or something. So I remember we came to the first scrimmage. The first scrimmage was, I think it was like 3 p.m. or something. And I was on the bench. And the first quarter, so we were playing 12-minute quarters. The first quarter was like, we were down, we were getting killed. And then the coach, he was the assistant coach for the New York Knicks at the time. He looked down the bench. He's like, and on the other team, the person that was killing us was Evan Fournier.
Oh shit.
So he was like, can somebody stop this son? You know, he started cussing. He's like, can somebody stop this son? So I was just like, me, I put my hand up, you know, and he looked at me, laughed, and walked away, you know, basically laughed in my face. So he called a timeout. It was like maybe like 3 or 4 minutes to go. He called a timeout, and he was just like, y'all want to win? What's going on? Like, yeah, this is like the championship game. You want to be drafted? You want to win? Somebody stop this mother. I told him, Coach, put me in the game. Give me a minute. Let me show you what I can do. So, you know, he's like, okay, go in the game. So instead of putting me at the 4, he put me at the 3 in order to guard Evan Fournier. And basically what I did was just like, you know, pick him up full court. So what people didn't know is that I was working out with Sam Cassell at one point, and I was working out with Gary Payton during the summer before. So I had learned tricks from them. You know, and it was like, it got pretty feisty out there. You know, if sometimes he would make moves where he's fast, and I would literally grab him by his shorts where the referee couldn't see, and I was pulling out all the tricks and stuff. You know, held him down to 2 points when I got in the game. You know, the first quarter was over. Second quarter came, locked him down 2 points. The rest of the 3 quarters, right? Now on offense, I remember I scored like 21 points. And it was just like I couldn't miss anything that I was shooting. It was like one of those I couldn't miss. And it was just like, that's like for real. A lot of people would say like, I believe in God, I do this, I do that, whatever. I'm Christian. That was a day I believed that God existed. When that happened, that's when I was like, okay, God exists. Because it was like, I was shooting threes from damn near half court, and I was making them. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I couldn't miss, you know. And it was just like, and after the game, I remember after the game, you know, I had like, you saw all the scouts and the NBA GM just get up and walk to my agent. They just walked to my agent, and then they had their meeting. And I remember I had to go to dinner. You know, we went to dinner, and then my agent came in, and he had a stack of business cards like this from all the teams. And then he was just like, all right, so you have 7 workouts in 7 days. You think you can do it? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right. So we start in LA. I was like, what do you mean LA? He's like, oh, you got the Lakers first, then the Clippers, San Antonio, Phoenix, Cleveland, New York, and then somebody else. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you know, it's cool. You fly business class, you get picked up in a nice car. Like, so it wasn't a hostile lifestyle. It was cool. And then I remember I went to the Laker workout, you know, it was like a couple of days before the draft at this point. I went to the Laker workouts, and we started doing like drills and stuff, and I was killing. And then I remember we did 1-on-1, and I was killing, 2-on-2, killing. When we came to the 3-on-3, now mind you, Magic Johnson, Buss, everybody was sitting up watching. Jeez. We came to the 3-on-3, halfway through the 3-on-3, 45 minutes into a 2-hour workout. Mitch Kupchak, which is a GM, he came down. He's like, workout is finished. I was like, what? He's like, so I thought I was in trouble. He's like, workout's finished. Go shower up. We'll meet you in the office. I was like, okay. So I went and showered up. Now everybody's in the shower room, like in the locker room, like, oh, what happened? Like, somebody failed a drug test. What's going on? Like, we were there like, because the workout finished after 45 minutes, and that's a 2-hour workout. Then they tell everybody, oh, go back to the hotel. And when I was trying to go back to the hotel, they told me, oh, just wait up. I was like, okay. So they like, you got to go up to the office and meet. So I sat down in the office, and I remember when I showed up to the meeting, most people just show up looking t-shirt, shirt, button up, whatever. I showed up in a full business suit. I showed up in a business suit, and they were like, you're a professional, like, and I remember that we had a meeting, and it felt like I was being interrogated by the FBI. They knew everything about me, things that I did in high school. They knew every little thing about me. I'd ask the questions, straight up, and then I left the office, went back to the hotel, and they had called my agent, and they told my agent to cancel all the workouts, every other workout that I had for other teams. So, and then when it came draft night, I remember I fell asleep because I was like working out. We had pickup that day. I came back and I fell asleep on draft day. And then my agent just came running into my room because we had a couple people over. So he came knocking on the door, pushed the door open, just ran in and just jumped on top of me in the bed and just started like picking me up and like shaking me. So yeah, it was the experience of a, lifetime.
That's elite. That's sick. So you didn't actually hear your name being called on draft day?
No, they recorded it. And then they rewinded for me. Because when they woke me up, they didn't even tell me I got drafted. They just came celebrating and pulled me into the room. And then I heard my name being called. And I just remember, like, it wasn't like, I wasn't happy and I wasn't sad. But then when I picked up the phone to call my mom, I started crying on the phone, when I called. Because, like, my mom was, like, the only person that has never said one bad thing about what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, she picked me up every morning. She made sure I got to practice on time. She made sure I had everything I needed, shoes, whatever. If I needed Jordans, she would make sure I got Jordans, so she always made sure that I got everything I had. So when I called her, I told her that, and I didn't even say that I got drafted. I was just like, we made it. You know what I'm saying? She's like, what do you mean we made it? And I remember she was at work. I was like, Mom, we made it. We going to LA. She was like, what do you mean we're going to LA? Like, I was like, Mom, I got drafted by the Lakers. And she was like, what? And she started screaming on the phone and she just, and African moms, like, they go wild. Mom. Yeah. So, yeah. And that actually kind of like brought some tears to my eye because, it was like, so much not like, it was like our dream. You know what I'm saying? So so I was proud that I achieved that dream for my mom.
Yeah.
I already know if I said that to my mom would be like, who's the Lakers?
Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like 2009 was the year the Lakers won it, wasn't it?
No, he got drafted in 2011. 2012.
2011.
Yeah, but he went to
2011.
Yeah, no, 2011, that's right. 2011, who won that year?
2011 was Dallas.
Oh, Dallas.
2012 was with Miami. Yeah. If we quickly run back to your UConn days, you told us about deciding to go to UConn. What was your experience like playing for the UConn Huskies?
It was like almost a party, man. It was like a party.
I hated it.
I remember. Nah, but it was just like, I remember coming in first day in practice, getting to fight. With Jeff Adrian. Because we both power forwards. He's a junior, I'm a freshman. And I remember Coach Calhoun coming in saying, okay, Jeff, he's taking your starting spot straight up to everybody on the team. And I remember Jeff trying to bully me. But then for me, like, what people don't understand that I'm skinny, but I'm strong as hell and I'm crazy as hell. So, like, I don't care who you are. Like, I'm going to fight you. So we got into a fight, like a actual fight on the court, and nobody held us back. You know, we got into a fight. Then coach brought us to the office, and he was like, he told me, he's just like, this is what we want. Like, we want warriors, we want fighters, we don't want nobody backing down. And then second day, this is during training camp. So training camp is different. You get a white t-shirt, doesn't say anything, like a prison white t-shirt, prison white shorts, all school shorts, right? You don't get no Nike shoes. You don't get no nice Nike shoes. You don't get nothing. You got to earn everything. You got to earn it. If you don't earn it, you don't wear that. And there's certain things you got to do, you know, to pass the test in order to earn the uniform of the Huskies. And I remember Coach Calhoun coming in, he was just like, you know, put your hand up if you come in here to win a championship, or put your hand up if you come in here to get an education. You know, and he literally separated the team, and he was just like, if you came in for education, cool, fine, no problem. You be over there. You're not going to play this season. You're going to sit on the bench. You're just going to sit on the bench. You're going to be our practice dummies. And then if you came here to win, go to the other side. You know, I went to the side who wanted to win. And it was just like schoolwork, basketball, nothing else. Like, it was just like basketball, you know? So that was like the first week. And it was just like, it was a week of hell. I remember we had to run Cemetery Hill, like which is like an hour run. You got to run the hour at a certain pace. You know, you live twice a day. And then, and it was fun. Like, it was, you know, parties, the lifestyle was just, it's almost like if you're not disciplined, it's going to catch you off guard. And, you know, that's the reason, like, people act like, that's the reason why a lot of players don't make it to the NBA, or don't get drafted, or don't even play overseas, because they get caught up in the lifestyle in college. Because I promise you, like, a lot of good NBA players, a lot of good college players don't make it professional because they get caught up. You know,
like everyone we talk to about like American colleges just like always rave about it. And then me and Pat always just like, university in Australia just sucks.
Australian university sucks, bro, compared to American college.
I mean, so every university is like its own city. So every university, it's like its own city. So like UConn, it's like UConn, the city of UConn. Like, so we had our own hospitals, we had libraries, we had park clubs, we had everything. Like, and it was in the middle of nowhere.
Bullet, bro.
So it's like, and you have the oldest student would be like, what, 26, 27? You know, so everybody
that makes
just
so
like
much more
wilding,
sense.
partying, you know, enjoying life.
That makes so much more sense. It's like Melbourne, you have like,
so it's just like, and then like, if the professor,
you go to Melbourne, I feel like 45-year-olds in my class.
So and most of the universities are not actually in the cities. Most of the universities are outside, like they own those cities.
That makes more sense, because it's then like you just have the students, and it's just like, damn, I might leave. Low-key.
I might go to America real quick.
No, it's just like, okay, you leaving your parents' home, you go live by yourself. You know, you just, everything that you did not, you know, your parents said no, don't do. Now you do it. And then being a basketball player, you have every night, you have millions of people watching on TV. You have 40,000 fans at the games every day cheering your name. So like on campus, you're a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? So of course you're gonna enjoy that.
Especially a school like UConn as well, which is huge.
Yeah.
So then I think
you go.
I think what Pat was trying to author is like, in 2009, you declared for the draft, but then a week before the draft, you decided to go back to UConn.
Yeah.
Could you sort of talk to us a bit about that?
It was just me getting ahead of myself. I just got caught up. I just, you know, to be honest with you, I got the wrong advice, because at the time, the mock draft had me as a first round pick. You know, and I remember I was just like, if the mock draft had me as a first round pick, so why not? You know, so I just was like, all right, let me try it. And I remember Coach Calhoun called me. He was just like, this is not the time for you. Like, you're gonna mess up your career and you're gonna mess up everything that you've built so far. You know, and we just had a chat, and that's when I came to respect Coach Calhoun, because he didn't have a chat like a coach. He had a chat like he was my father, you know, and he just give me advice, you know, just telling me like, listen, this is what you need to do. The decision is up to you at the end of the day, but this is what I'm advising you to do. Yeah, and I was just like, you know what, I wasn't ready for this. You know, I remember I worked out for Golden State though. That was a nice experience.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Yeah, so that was my only workout that I had. And then I just after I remember after the work, I just told everybody, I was just like, I'm gonna go back to college. I'm not ready for the NBA.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, so what do you reckon your like favorite part or like your best experience was throughout your college career?
Final Four, Michigan.
Ooh.
72,000 fans in a football stadium.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
That would be
Final Four.
Listen,
Final Four.
listen. The most hostile situation I've ever been in, but it was pretty hostile because we were playing Michigan State in Michigan. So it was pretty wild. You know, they had like said, I remember they said it was like 72,000 fans in the stadium. You know,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So that was kind of like, I think it was like the biggest experience. And then I remember my first game. You know, I'm a starter, and I remember like for 5 minutes I didn't do nothing. You know, I was playing proper basketball and being professional, you know, in the quote unquote term. And I remember I caught the ball, and I brought the ball up, you know, because at some point, like the system we were running, it required me to bring the ball up sometimes. So I was bringing the ball up, and instead of passing it and getting a flare, you know, I said, you know, after this, let me show what I got. And I went between the legs, crossover. I shot the ball, you know, and it wasn't a bad shot. It wasn't a bad move. It wasn't a bad shot. The ball hit, you know, the back of the rim. It was almost going in and bounced off. And I remember I turned around. I remember I heard the timeout. I turned around. I'm at half court. I turned around. Coach Calhoun was in my face. And he was just, you motherfucker. Do you think this is an NBA? Do you think you're playing street ball? This, da, da, da. And he just, the whole time, he's walking behind my back. I remember I'm just like, all right, I'm going to punch this old man in the head. And I remember walking back to the bench. I remember walking back to the bench, and he just kept walking behind me, talking. And then he was just like, I remember telling the assistant coach, Andre Lafleur, you know, he played in Australia, and his wife is from Australia. And I remember him going off on Andre, this is one of your Australian motherfuckers that you brought over here. So I want you to address it. And he was just like, just going off. And then I went and sat down, and he was like, no, don't sit down. I don't want you to sit down. Go sit at the end of the bench. And I was just like, yo, what's wrong with this dude? Like, and he just benched me for the rest of the game. I was like, no. This is a whole different animal. So yeah, those are some pretty, you know, some pretty cool experiences.
So then,
you know. And then I remember we had like, it was like, what, we were playing Texas. So Texas was number 1. And I think we were like 20 something. And then I don't know what happened. Coach was just like, this is your game. Like, he was just like, this is your game today. I'm going to play you 40 minutes. Like, he's just like, I'm going to play you 40. I was like, okay, cool. So I went out there. So at the time, I was like, shit, coach, because coach, the whole week of practice, he was just like putting me out there, like, just let me hoop. Like, he wasn't restricting. So I remember I was like, all right, this is my day to shine. I remember I had the limited edition LeBron all black leather. Like, I was feeling myself, you know, went and got my hair braided, went out there. And I remember, like, from tip off, like, because everybody had us to lose the game. And I remember from tip off, it was just like, we just started going at him, like hammer him. Like I had the first dunk, and then I remember Stanley coming down, catching a lob. Like we were just going at it. And I just remember the end of the game, we knocked the number 1 seed off. Like we just knocked him off. So that was like a pretty cool experience right there. And then I remember another time. I don't know if you guys know Stanley Robinson. He ain't never played professional, but I remember him windmilling on a player in a game.
Shit.
Yeah, and that left me speechless. He's about 6'8", and he just had bounce. He just had bounce. If I could find the clip, I'm gonna send it to you guys. And he just in a game, he just came. They threw him a lob, so instead of catching the lob and dunking it, he just caught the lob, and it was a 7-footer. He just guarded the ball and just brought it down and dunked it.
Oh no, that's disrespectful. That is disrespectful.
Yeah, the disrespect on it. Yeah,
I wish, like when we were in high school, I wish like people like I think on our team we had one guy that was 6'3" and he played our center, and he couldn't dunk.
Nah, he was 6'4", 6'5".
Austin.
Yeah.
We had this kid. He's you remember Mason Fletch? Yeah. He could dunk. He was mad, bro. He was huge. He just dunked everything in game as well.
Just shows Australian basketball is nowhere near the level of American basketball.
It'll get there. Give it time.
The thing is, it's just Australia's basketball is not the number 1 sport in Australia.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So that makes it a little bit different. We lose a lot of our athletic players to other sports. That's
like AFL, rugby, stuff like that.
Yeah, but basketball, it's just like one thing. It's just like football, basketball, and nothing else. So it's like it's 50-50 between the two of them, basically.
So then, in September 2009, you left UConn to pursue professional basketball. What was your reason for leaving UConn?
It was just getting caught up. I got caught up in a lot of nonsense with the NCAA. And it was just like a best choice for me to just leave. It was just sometimes you gotta, despite of how sweet something is, if it's causing you more harm than good, then you just gotta be like, all right, I gotta go. Like this is not a place for me anymore. UConn was home for me, and I felt at home. Like it was like a place. The guys on the team, Kemba, Jerome, Hashim, everybody, they were like brothers to me. Like they treat me like brothers and stuff. Coach was like our father. But it came down to a point where it was just like there was a lot of unnecessary attention that I was getting, due to the mystery of the player that I am. Because a lot of people didn't know anything about me. I just showed up in the scene. And people, the NCAA was doing investigations on me, trying to figure out if I got paid, if I did this, if I did that, if I committed any violations. And I just came to a decision. I was just like, you know what? I don't need this. Like, it's killing me, because I was every little thing I did. If I go out to the club, next day I'm having an interview. What did you spend? What did you buy? Where did you get the money? We need to see your bank statement. Who pays for your phone bill? Who does this? Who does that? Who does that? And I'm just like, do you guys not understand that, okay, my family, like, I have family that are millionaires. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
just because I don't flash, I don't wear jewelry and stuff. Like, if I go to Sudan, my father is a minister. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have money. So don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? And they kept like just bugging me. They kept bugging me about the smallest little things. And I was just like, all right, like it was just like over. I remember I did an interview. I remember I went out with the volleyball girls to a club and came back, and we had taken pictures and stuff, and the girls posted it on social media, and they saw it. Then they called me into the office the next day. They're just like, oh, so you guys got a table, blah, blah, blah. Who paid for it? Blah, 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 all this. And they started asking me a whole bunch of ridiculous questions. And I was just like, you know what? I just told them, I'm like, you know what? I paid for everything myself, and I have a job on campus. I made this amount of money. And then after the meeting, I just went to Coach Conwell's office. I just told him, you know what, I'm tired. Like I'm tired of this. Yeah, you know.
NCAA
And I
always be
just remember
bugging as
after
well.
that.
Oh, they're so bad with it, bro. They get everyone as well. Like,
Yeah.
who was the recent one that it was like in the last of the year, wasn't it? Who was it, Taku?
What's his name? It was the projected number one pick. I can't remember his name now.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But like, even he was just getting investigated and stuff. I was just like, well, leave the man alone. Like, seriously, can someone just tell him to piss off?
Yeah.
It's just annoying.
Yeah, I mean, it's for them. You know, for them, it's a business. They got to protect their business. You know, so I don't ever fault a person for doing what they got to do. They got to do what they got to do. I got to do what I got to do. You know, if you sign with the NCAA, and I remember when I left school, I had choices to go professional or go to a non NCAA school, because they have NCAA and then they have another category. So some schools that don't go under the NCAA system. So I had a chance to go to those schools, and I was just like, nah, you know what I'm saying? At this point, I just like, I'm not gonna transfer, sit out for another year and this and that and have to deal with all that. I was just like, I'm done with this, and I just left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, were you part of that team, that UConn team with Kemba that went like, where Kemba went like, I can't remember now. It was like that game winner
Against McGee?
Yeah.
No, I was there. I was there until I remember I was there until the Big East tournament.
Okay.
I was there until the Big East tournament, and then I left.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
So then
it was James Wiseman, by the way, the guy that got investigated.
Yeah, okay, yeah, James Wiseman.
James Wiseman, he got investigated for taking bribes from Duke or something like that.
From Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway.
Yeah.
So then you made your professional debut for the Turkish club FMV Iskspor in Istanbul.
Yeah.
What was like that first feeling of professional basketball?
Well, when I got there, I got off the plane. So in my head, so what people don't know is that I actually signed in France before I actually went to Turkey.
Okay.
I signed in France, and there was some contract issues. I actually went to France and actually landed, and I actually was there with the team. There was some contract problems. So my agent was just like, this is not a good situation for you, because the team, they're very shady. You know, in the contract, there's a lot of things that didn't make sense. So I ended up, my agent was just like, listen, I'm gonna put you for a week in Champs-Élysées in Paris, and I just wilded out for a week, and then I ended up signing in Turkey. When I got to Turkey, in my head, now I'm in Paris, you know, having fun.
Yeah.
And in my head, he was like, oh, you signed in Istanbul. So I'm like, okay, Istanbul. I'm thinking Istanbul. I don't have any good ideas about Istanbul. So I landed in Istanbul. It was like old airport, whatever. You know, they took me to the apartment, you know, decent apartment. Went to practice. Then we had a game. The third night I got there, and it was an away game, and we were playing against Beşiktaş, and at the time they had Allen Iverson.
Allen Iverson.
When we
top 10 player.
So we were in the bus, and I remember I never experienced this, because in college the fans are hostile, but not that hostile. So when I got there, it was like you come down the drive to the stadium, and you turn, and you just had probably like 3,000-4,000 fans just standing there waiting for you, booing you, pushing the bus, like booing you. You know, so they have riot police with like shields and helmets and everything, and they just kind of got off the bus. You get off the bus quickly, like you don't stand, you don't walk around, you just get off the bus, go straight to the locker room. They force us into the locker room. I'm like, as soon as that happened, I started kind of getting nervous. I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on over here? You know, we got inside, we got changed. Then I'm going to the court to shoot. They're like, oh, you can't be on the court yet. I'm like, why? He's like, it's not safe. I'm like, what do you mean it's not safe? He's like, yeah, it's not safe. Like, you got to wait in the locker room until the whole team comes out. So I'm like,
Oh,
cool.
no.
We all come out. I didn't see the court yet. We come out to the court. So between the fans and the players, we sit under like a soccer shield thing, so the fans don't throw anything at us. You know, and we had like nets behind us. We had riot police, and I was just like, yo, what is this? And then during the game, it got so foggy from the tear gas, from the gas that they were lighting up or whatever. I couldn't breathe. There was like little mini pops, like I don't know what they call. They like
Party
go
poppers.
off. Yeah, it's like really loud.
Okay.
Those were going off. I'm on the bench. I'm just like, yo, what's going on? Like, you know, so that was my experience. And then after that, I was just like, what is this? You know, it was like a whole different scene for me. I wasn't used to that.
Istanbul takes their basketball very seriously.
No,
Too serious.
Istanbul.
But then at the same time, how is this productive for the home team? Like, this must be just as distracting.
Scare tactics.
Yeah.
Moving on. So you signed for the Perth Wildcats as an NBL injury replacement player. What was the reasoning like coming back to Australia?
I mean, it was just like a coincidence because I left when I left Istanbul. There was actually an issue where the team, one of the EuroLeague teams, was trying to buy me out from the Turkish team, but they didn't want to sell me. And I was off it. You know, I was just like, I don't want to be here. You know, if I can move up in my career, so I just left the team. And then when I got the offer, I remember I landed on the 23rd. I got the offer on the 23rd night, and they wanted me on the plane on the 24th. And at the time, I was just like, all right, like, Perth, cool. Like, you know, it was just like right there. It was the perfect timing. So I was just like, all right, cool.
Perth is kind of nice, though. Perth's nice.
So you became sort of a fan favorite in Perth because of your shot blocking ability. Do you sort of wish that you were able to stay in Perth for a longer period of time?
Yes and no. You know, people don't understand my mentality when it comes to like my career and my career choices. Most people want to stay in one place, build a home, this and that. For me personally, due to my own reasons, I prefer to travel, move around, see the world. You know, so me being in Perth, it would have just been like, I would not have experienced, you know, playing in Israel, playing in Lebanon, playing in China. You know, I would not have experienced all those stuff, you know. So for me, it was just like, I would not have wanted to stay there, you know. And then also, like, I would not have gotten drafted, or I would have stayed in Perth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's because everything happens for a reason. Every decision that I make leads to another choice that I have to make. So, you know, but like playing for Perth, those 8 weeks, it was like amazing, man. It was like, you know, the fans were really cool, very supportive. You know, and I had a good time. I mean, you know, now, you know, if I had an offer to go back to Perth, I would definitely sign. You know, for a long period of time. You know, now is the time to kind of like leave a standing legacy. You know, so now I'm in a place where it's, all right, y'all want to sign me for 3 years? All right, cool. I'm gonna be here for 3 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you know, now you have like, you're trying to build a family, you're trying to settle down. So it's just like, you don't want to be traveling anymore. But when I was younger, it would have been a bad idea.
I mean, Melbourne. If you're Melbourne, you're hearing it here, you know.
Melbourne,
Big up to Melbourne.
you know,
I mean, I don't know about Melbourne. I mean, they already have their team set. I mean, they already have their team set. And most of the time, I don't really sign with teams that are already, you know, up there. You know, most likely, if I was gonna sign with any other team, I would probably sign with like the Hawks,
Yeah.
Oh,
Hawks,
yeah.
something like that. I always like sign with the underdog teams.
Yeah.
We had Emmett Nar from the Illawarra Hawks on a couple weeks ago. So guys,
Yeah,
dynamic duo.
It'd be a bit closer to
yeah,
home for you as well, wouldn't it? Because it's closer to Sydney.
Oh yeah, true. Isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Underdog team in Sydney. You can't ride it. I can see it happening.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, if they offer, I wouldn't say no, but just like kind of like how it works,
Yeah.
yeah.
and you got to look at it. I'm at a point in my life where I've been through so many contract negotiations. I wrote my own contract at this point, and you just get to see by the team's dynamics and the league's dynamics which teams are potentially going to sign you and which teams are not even going to look
Yeah.
at you, despite how
No.
good you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, after your
there you go.
time, after your time in Perth, you told us a bit. You went to the Gold Coast Blaze for the rest of the season. What
Mhm.
was that like before you entered the NBA draft?
Honestly, so I told myself I was gonna come in and just be real honest with you guys. I wasn't even focused on basketball when I was in the Gold Coast. Gold Coast is Gold Coast. I was there partying, enjoying life. Um, and it was just like, because when I first came, it was just like, and this is part of what makes a person or a professional or a player who they are. I came in there because of because when I was in Perth, I was like they said I was going to be rookie of the year and run possibly defensive team and all of this. Like there was a lot of talks about me, so I expected when I went to Gold Coast that everything was just going to be handed to me in a platter. And I came in with that mindset. And that really quickly kind of like slapped me in the face. And then when that happened, instead of me saying, all right, I'm gonna work for it, I just said kind of like, oh, so y'all just gonna sit me on the bench? Cool. Like I'm gonna just go out and party. The night before the game, I'm going out partying, I'm doing whatever I gotta do. And that experience taught me, to how to be a professional, what to do and what not to do,
Yeah.
but it was a good experience.
And like for some of our listeners that don't know Gold Coast, Gold Coast is crazy.
It's like the Vegas. It's like the Vegas of Australia.
It's easy to get caught up, especially in Gold Coast.
I wouldn't know. I didn't go to school east for you did, Taku, so.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I mean, Gold Coast was crazy.
So then, you entered the draft. You got drafted, and then that 2011-2012 season, you signed for the Slovakian league and played for Nitra. What was sort of that second stint of another country and getting to play there?
So I signed there because they were actually in the Euro Cup.
Yeah.
So that's the league that's under the Euro League. So that's the reason why I signed there. And when I signed there, so Nitra's like, old Soviet Union, crazy old building, cold as hell. When I got there, it was just like depressing. I mean, it was just depressing for me. But when it came to on the court, I remember like we were traveling. We played in Spain, we played in France, we played in different places, and I was actually like really killing. The basketball part was kind of like fun, and which kept me motivated. But when it came off the court, I was just like, I was off it. I was depressed. I didn't want to be there. So.
Yeah. So you went back to the States and then you played in the summer league. What was it like being able to experience playing in the summer league in 2012?
I mean, summer league is a summer league. To be honest, like that's what I just say. It's a summer league. It's pretty much the teams pretty much already know who they're gonna play, who they want to see, who they're gonna keep, who they're gonna have on the team. It's already pretty much determined before you even get there. I mean, it was an experience. For me, I got to hang out with a lot of professional players. I got to meet a lot of people. I got to hang out with a lot of like NBA All-Stars, Hall of Famers, and it was more like a learning experience and just enjoying life. It wasn't so much about basketball. It was more about learning the culture. That's how I took it as. But when I was on the court, I still did what I had to do, played well, did what I had to do. But it was more of like kind of learning, learning how to be, professional.
So then, following that, in 2014, you signed for the Los Angeles Defenders, an NBA G League team, well, D League at the time. What was sort of that experience of like playing in the NBA D/G League?
It was cool. So what happened was I had gotten an offer from the Lakers, and I took the offer, but then I had to prove myself, before I can kind of actually sign. I had to prove myself in the D League. So it was them testing me. So when I got in there, I had a lot of privilege. So I got to work out with the first team. I got to hang out with a lot of the players in the first team. So it was like a very learning experience. And then also living in LA, it was like really, really fun. I'm talking about like really, really fun. Which is and it was cool though. Like it was cool. We get to travel the world. You get to play against very top competition. And then when you come home and I'm in LA, I'm working out. Kobe walks in and he's like, "Hey, young fella, you need to do da 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 da." You know what I'm saying? You working out. You have Dwight Howard walking in. You have Paul Gasol walking in, Steve Nash, whatever. Hey, or you got like, Steve Nash coming. I bet you can't beat me in one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? So like, it was just like, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
And that Lakers team was starstruck as well. So getting to see everyone, like Jesus.
Did you ever get to like speak to like Kobe? Like, did you ever have that moment with Kobe where he gave you some like advice and you took that with you, like on to your next adventure?
So me, and Beans, we have a very, very long history. So I went to a camp and he was there. He was one of the speakers when I was in high school. And when we had a photo op, like, you take photos at the end of camp, and I told you, and I was like, I'm gonna beat your ass one day. That's what I told him. I'm like, I'm gonna beat you one day, or I'm gonna be your teammate. And he looked at me and laughed, right? So when I got drafted, then I had to fly to LA the next day. So when I got to the office, no, actually, when I got to the hotel, I put my bags down, and then I had to go to the office, the practice facility. And when I first walked into the practice facility, I had the picture, me and Kobe. And I was just like, I just asked Mitch, I was just like, is Mr. Bryan here? And he's like, no, he's not here. So I was just like, can you please just send him this picture and just tell him, I said, what's up? And he looked at me like I was crazy. And what most people don't understand is that Kobe is one of the most competitive, to the point what I said to him that day, he remembered. That's how you can tell how focused this dude was. He remembered me saying that because, and then when he texted him that and showed him the picture, he rang on the phone. So I'm on the phone. Now, when I was on the phone, I was kind of a little bit shy and a little bit kind of like nervous. And he was just like, yeah, you did it, welcome to the team, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you know what? I didn't forget you, because I knew if I ever saw you in the NBA, you was about to get the business. Oh, damn. I put a bullseye on my back. So I remember going into the locker room, and then I was getting changed. Steve Nash came in and he had a photo shoot that day. We sat down, we started talking and stuff. Like a week later, I remember he used to work out early. like by the time we come in there, like 8, 9 a.m., he's finished his workout, he's drenched in sweat. And I was just like, okay, one day I came in, I think it was like 7 a.m., and I was just, come in, and I was like, so the practice facility, there's some places where you can see into the practice facility, but nobody can see you. So I actually sat in one of those rooms and I actually watched him, I actually watched the workout. And then right before he finished, I walked on the court, and I told him, hey, what's up? And he's like, what's up, young fella? How you doing? And he was sitting on the side, so I went out there and started working out. He started working out. I started working out and stuff. And then he came on the court and he was just like, yeah, the pivot, and he basically taught me the spin move, like how to be efficient with the spin move. Because my spin move used to be very robotic because it wasn't really in my mechanics, because I was so tall and so skinny. So it wasn't in my mechanics to spin because people always knock my balance, my center of gravity out. So he was like, okay, so you're skinny and you're long. So you got to be smart. You know what I'm saying? So he taught me actually how to be a spin move. So before I actually have to, establish my pivot, I actually jump stop on 2 feet to spin rather than spinning off 1 foot. So when I spin with 2 feet, I have more control over what the defender actually does. So he actually showed me that. And I was just like, oh, snap. You know what I'm saying? And in my head, I was just like, oh, damn, like he's actually showing me tricks. So funny story. Then I remember I was like doing the moves or whatever. He went showered, came back. And now I'm doing, full court shooting. So, you run one half, shoot, whatever. He came in and he sat for a second and he was like, yo, come in. So he was talking to the manager. He was talking to Carlos. He's like, Carlos, why you got him wearing this bullshit, man? And I'm wearing Adidas.
Oh, no.
Right? And he's like, hey, yo, go hook him up with something. So Carlos went to the storage, right? So the storage right to the back. Carlos came out with a whole bunch of Kobe's, like exclusive colors. I only wore one pair to this day. Came out with a whole bunch of shoes, like t-shirts, shorts, and stuff like that. And he just gave it to me.
The king, bro, the king.
Man. And then ever since that day, it was just like we had a relationship. Like most people was like, oh yeah, he an asshole because he doesn't say hi. He didn't say hi to everybody else on the team, but because he saw me working, and I was willing to listen and actually learn, we had that in common. You know what I'm saying? So he respected you as long as you worked hard. He didn't respect you if you were lazy and you didn't want to win. Or if you came to LA to party, and you know what I'm saying. So, he would see me, he would see me outside. Hey, what's up? You need something? You good? Everything all right? How's the family? Give me a ride whenever I need a ride down to my place, whatever. So we had kind of like that, a relationship, but I never was the type of person to cross the boundary and kind of like try to become almost like a friend. So I just kind of like was like, okay, if you want to be my friend, cool, I'm down with it. I'm not gonna push it. So I'm gonna take what I can get for now. So that was kind of like my experience with him, and it was pretty cool.
Man, I mean, Kobe, my favorite player, so that's sweet.
You got a jersey in the back, don't you?
Hey,
high school jersey.
Yeah, right there, Kobe.
High school jersey, that's crazy.
So then, you were unfortunately let go after a season-ending injury with the MCL sprain on your, I think it was left leg. What was that sort of rehab like, in coming back from a serious injury like that?
So, everything was going so well. And I remember one morning, something was just off. I went to the stadium. I got hurt in shoot around. And it was just the weirdest injury because my teammate jumped for a rebound during walkthrough. And he landed on my knee, pushing my knee in, and snapping the MCL. And at first I was kind of like in denial. until, you know, Mitch came, and Mitch was just like, yeah, you know, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. I was pretty devastated. And then I went through 2 months of depression. Um, you know, I went through 2 months of depression, and I remember I just called Mitch one day, Mitch Kupchak, which is the Laker GM. He's the general manager. I was just like, I want to go home. I don't want to be here no more. And I remember I just flew back to Sydney. When I came to Sydney, I started working with different kids, like just working kids out. And I actually had a personal trainer, Sonny, and he was helping me while rehab. You know, so when that was happening, I started just working with kids, and I just focused kind of like on gaining weight, getting stronger. But I really didn't know if I was coming back. You know, and then when I did the MRI again, I think 5 months later, I was fully healed. I was able to walk fine, run, jump, do everything. You know, and I sat down within myself, and I was just like, do I really want to go back to playing basketball? And I had to make a decision. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go back and play basketball. Yeah.
Okay. So then that's good. So you're positive recovery sort of thing. So then
yeah.
now you're currently playing with like the New Zealand Breakers. Were you like playing with like RJ Hampton this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like what was like sort of like playing with him and seeing like him up and coming and going to the NBA draft this year?
I mean, you know, that's like my little brother. You know, I was actually talking to his dad last night. You know, he's young, and he's making mistakes that he should be making his age, which is some mistakes you just gotta let them make it. You know, and then my whole thing was like, you know, when I came and I met RJ, I was just like, you know, I'm gonna show you what I got. You know, we play a lot of one-on-one, and I was like, you're not gonna make the same mistakes I made. So we just kind of like would sit, talk, hang out, you know. And he was my little brother, you know what I'm saying? It's just like my little brother's getting ready for the draft. Yeah, and it was cool, like, you know, to see I was in that position at one time, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, wow, now I'm actually sitting here talking to somebody else who's in this position. So you know, it was cool, and it was a pleasure. Like, he's cool as hell. He's you know, he's gonna be a good player. He's gonna be a great player. You know, so I just hope all the best for him, and hopefully he goes pretty high in the draft.
Yeah.
RJ's the only like professional player I met before he started doing this, and I remember I met him and I had his jersey on, and I was like hella nervous about it, and we took a photo, and I was just like, can you like sign my jersey? And I was just like hella scared about the whole thing.
Starstruck.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it is, you know, you're gonna have certain players who showed love for the fans, and that's one of the biggest things that I told them. I was like, listen, without your fans, you'll be nobody. So you have to learn how to respect your fans. You know, I don't want you to sit there and sign thousands of autographs after the game. But at the same time, you gotta show respect for your fans and stuff. You know, which he took in pretty well. You know, so he was pretty cool. Like, you know, a lot of people that walked up to him, like, he was cool. He would have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
You know, sit and kick it with you. Like, he didn't have any problem. You know, I remember when my brother came to visit. He was hanging out playing Fortnite with my brother and kicking it. So.
So like hella humble sort of thing.
Yeah. So I mean, his mom always make sure that he's humble.
And I think especially like for him when he was like such a, I think, high school sensation like that, and like people know your name at such a young age, like your LaMelos, your Lonzos, like all of them, you got to sort of be within yourself and not let it get to your head at the same time.
Yeah, nah, definitely. You got to stay humble, because you're gonna get lost in the sauce real quick.
Lost in the sauce. So moving on to a very important question.
Wait, one more. So I was just debating this with parent, but you played with a lot of very good basketball players throughout your career already. But who would you say the best person you've played with is?
It can only be one, bro. It can only be one. The Bean.
But he didn't play with Kobe.
I mean, I didn't play with Kobe.
You trained with him.
And that's tough. That's tough. That's tough.
That's tough.
Best player I played with.
You know the song I'm talking about.
That's tough. Whew. Man, that's hard, bro. That's hard because it's like every year I play with, I play with a lot, I play with a lot of players. No, you know what? I remember when I got drafted, we had summer league games, and I remember at one point I was in a game, and it was me, Kevin Durant, Todd Lawson. Who else was on the show? It was like basically DC professionals versus LA professionals. No, it wasn't LA. It was Baltimore professionals. And on the other team it was Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, Chris Paul,
Jesus, yo,
Bradley Beal, and it was pretty cool. And I think at that point it was just me and KD because that whole summer me and KD were working out together. So at that point I was just KD, he would be probably the best player I've played with.
Yeah, okay.
It's just his work ethic is ridiculous.
Yeah, people don't talk about that much.
I couldn't keep up with him. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's during the summer, his schedule, it would be we wake up, I live in DC, he lives in Maryland. So he lives 15 minutes away from me. So
yeah.
He would call me at 6 a.m. He was like, all right, be at the gym at 7. I'm like, cool. I'm still rolling over in bed trying to catch myself. Get to the gym, we work out, then we finish. We'll probably work out from 7 till about 10:30, 11. Go lift for 2 hours, have lunch, go, play PlayStation, whatever. After the PlayStation, we'll probably go play pickup somewhere. Probably at 6 p.m. we'll go play pickup. And that point, after the pickup game, I'm exhausted. So I'm be like, yo, I'm about to go take a nap or something. He'd be like, all right, cool, I'm about to go to the gym and get shots up. I'm like, okay, have fun, enjoy. He'd go to the gym, get shots up. He'd be done probably 10 o'clock at night. Then he would call me at 12. Yo, you trying to hit to the club? You trying to hit to the hookah lounge? You trying to hit somewhere? I'll be like, oh, fuck. All right, I'll get up, get dressed. We'll go to the hookah lounge. He would stay there till 3 a.m.
Jesus.
He would leave. The next day, start all over again. And it's ridiculous. I'm just bro, when do you find time to sleep? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just his work ethic is ridiculous.
What a mad
KD, I mean, heavily hated now, but KD Bolt, yeah, Paris and OKC fan.
I'm an Oklahoma fan, so I'm a bit still triggered. But moving on to a very important question that we always have to ask people that come on. Who is the NBA GOAT?
The NBA GOAT. The NBA GOAT. Between who?
I mean, it's whoever you want, bro. You could say Allen Iverson for all I know.
Stop bringing up Allen Iverson.
You could say whoever you want. But I know who mine is. Me and Taku have different opinions.
All right. So every era has its own GOAT.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Okay. Every era has its own GOAT. Now, if we put all the players in one era, and we'll talk for sake of talking hypothetical. So we say every player is playing in this era of basketball. I'll say Kobe will be the GOAT.
Hey, I'll take that. Bean.
That's the first
I would explain to you because Michael Jordan, most people would say Michael Jordan. If we played in this era, because this era is a 3-point dependent era.
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan wasn't really a 3-point threat to that extent.
Yeah.
Kobe would have been had a more of a 3-point. Now, if we talk about Michael Jordan era, that we putting all the players, including Kobe and LeBron, I'll say Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a different era, and the way they played was different. You know, but for me, but then it's just like it's difficult because it's like, all right, so we talk about he had to go through the bad boys, man.
Yeah,
I'm like, he had to go
beat Magic, had to beat the
and I'm
Magic
like,
Lakers.
you know, when you think about it, you like, I'm like, can LeBron go through the Magic and the Lakers? Can he go through the beating of the bad boys? Through the beating of the New York Knicks? I'm like, can Kobe do that? Like, I think it's LeBron ain't even in the conversation.
Ooh, that's a first. That's a first.
LeBron is not even because you have to understand, like, you gotta look at it. You gotta be like, all right, so you gotta look at the trials and tribulations of all the players. LeBron is going through Steph Curry. He's going through against whoever
getting
else
dropped
is
off by Dirk. Oh, he got beat by Dirk in the finals.
He's playing against Dirk. Now look at the era that Michael Jordan played in. And just look at how they played defense.
That's true. That's very true.
Right? They were playing football out there. And it's just like now if we switch the eras and just say, okay, we're gonna take LeBron and put him in Mike era and take Mike and put him in LeBron era, Jordan will probably have 20 rings. You know what I'm saying? Just by the person he is. Because now you can't hand check him. You can't body him. You can't push him. But LeBron, he's strong. He can handle the ball. He can see. But, dude, you're going to be picked up full court by Dennis Rodman. And when you go for a layup, you're going to have somebody come clothesline you. No, sir. You're not ready for all of that. You know what I'm saying? You got to really have mental toughness for that.
I'm just saying, we see this podcast.
For me, it's like between Kobe and MJ. LeBron ain't got no business in that. Now, I'm talking about by the end of his career, if he wins fucking more champs than what's his name, than Kobe and LeBron and MJ, then all right, we'll see when that happens. But until now, I'm sorry. And this is the thing: why do you need to have 4 players, 3 players to win a championship? LeBron always at every point in time, he needs to have 3 or 4 All-Stars.
At least.
Yeah, 2 All-Stars plus him 3.
Oh, fact.
And then he'll have and then he'll have at least another Hall of Famer.
He's making my argument. He's making my argument for me. Jordan the GOAT.
Here's the thing. I'm not a LeBron. I'm not like a LeBron fan, but we used to have another kid that was on the podcast with us, and he was a massive LeBron fan. And I was always in between. You know, I never agreed that Jordan was the greatest, LeBron was the greatest. I thought they were both great in their own respective right. But now that the other kids are here, I have to stand up. I have to stand up for LeBron. And it's a hard argument to make because I don't think he's the GOAT. You know, I still reckon Jordan's the GOAT. But I have to make the argument that LeBron
if you say Jordan, I'll say, all right, like I'm not gonna, deny that. But when people say, is it Jordan or LeBron? I'm like, wait, y'all forgetting Kobe?
Yeah, you disrespect Bean. You can't disrespect Kobe like that.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about that's not gonna happen. Like, LeBron is a great player, and I've played against him personally. Like he's telling y'all, he's a whole different. What you see on TV is like times 10 in real life. But then it's just like, if you all right, so I'm gonna tell you something. Do this. Watch a game, right? But instead of watching the basketball, watch all 3 of them play. Watch their eyes, and that will tell you who the GOAT is.
Yeah, because you see, like LeBron's always scanning.
The killer. No, but it's not so much scanning, but it's like who has the killer intentions.
Yeah, that's true.
The person, because the GOAT is willing to step on everybody's throat at any moment notice. He's ready to be called on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jordan doesn't have any, like when he goes to the finals, he doesn't choke.
That's true. He's lost
Kobe, when he goes to the finals, he don't choke. But LeBron, he doesn't have the killer eyes.
Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't have the killer in him. So why are you calling him the? You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna call a raccoon the goat, or you're not gonna call Giselle a goat. The lion is the goat because he's a killer and he's ready to kill and take a prey at any moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think about it like that.
And I think it was like Steven Jackson who was saying people always just skip over Kobe. It's like it's like when did LeBron pass Kobe? Because I mean Kobe's like career, if you think about it, he should have easily had at least 3 or 4 MVPs. And it's just
he got robbed a fair bit.
And it's just like in those Kobe and Shaq teams, Kobe was averaging 30 with Shaq. Shaq wasn't carrying. So I mean, hey,
yeah,
the Mamba is no joke.
Hey, don't disrespect Shaq like that. Don't disrespect.
No,
Shaq.
I ain't even disrespecting Shaq.
Hey, he was just because he wasn't putting up points.
No. Shaq was good. Forward. No, but you look at it like this, right? All the Kobe teams were made up of him and a center, and then players.
Facts.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
LeBron's teams is made up of LeBron, an all-star center, and then an all-star player, and then Hall of Famer player. Every team LeBron played in, he had Ray Allen, he had
D-Wade.
He had so many players that are like great players. So it's like,
Kyrie.
You know, he had D-Wade, Chris Bosh, Kyrie at one point. Like, come on,
Kevin
man.
Love.
Like,
AD, I'm sorry, AD is arguably top 5 power forward of all time. Like,
exactly.
That's
yeah,
true.
I mean, when George, I already know when George hears this, George is gonna come. When George hears it, he's just gonna come for me. Just be like, hey.
Yeah, no, he's gonna come right back. That's how the president of LeBron is.
Nah, that is not happening. And then you look at Jordan. How do you retire, come back and win a championship? That's by itself right there. It's like you could just tell, like, he's the GOAT.
And that's the biggest what if. Those 2 years he was gone, the Bulls easily could have beaten the
Orlando Magic.
No, the Hawks.
He came back on
the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets.
Yeah, Houston Rockets. That's right.
They beat the Houston Rockets in the finals. Like, and Jordan
and okay, and then put it like this, right? How many careers did LeBron destroy? And then think about it. How many careers did Jordan and Kobe destroy?
Everyone got a ring over LeBron. Like, Steph has a ring over Dirk. If Dirk has a ring
Steph
over
LeBron. Steph has three, bro. Steph has 3.
But then I don't hold against LeBron. When KD joined the Warriors, no one's beating a 72-win team plus Kevin Durant. 73 win team plus Kevin Durant. So, like, I don't hold that against LeBron. That's tough.
I mean,
no, it's not tough. It's not. You don't have no business, bro. You don't have no business. Like, you don't got it like that. You're a great player. You're a Hall of Famer, but he isn't the same level. He's the upgrade of Magic Johnson.
Yeah, that's true.
He is not. He's an upgrade of Magic Johnson. He's 6'9", stronger, more athletic, faster. So, and does exactly the same thing Magic Johnson was doing. So he's an upgrade of Magic Johnson. He is not the GOAT, not by any chance.
Damn, that's the first time in a split decision someone has taken LeBron out of the GOAT conversation.
Yeah, nah, he ain't got no business.
So our next question is:
the final
in your So in your playing career, you've won championships. You've played with crazy good players that everyone dreams about playing. But what would you say your favorite memory in your playing career is so far?
My favorite moment. What would it be? That's tough. I have a lot of memories. So, favorite moment. I think my favorite moment would have been when I was playing in Israel, playing EuroLeague. My first game, I was there. I was there, I think, for like 2 months before I got hurt. And I remember it was just like a surreal experience. It was like it was something it was like out of the storybooks. We were playing against Olympiacos in France. I remember, and it was just like the way the game was operated and the position of, because EuroLeague is very, it's very like precision. Like they'll take out of, if you take 20 shots in a EuroLeague game, you better make 18 out of those shots. It's not like the NBA where you could take 20 shots and make 10 and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's a great game. Nah, you better make 18. So everybody was so precise and every pass had a purpose, the way the game moved, the defensive philosophies, the offensive philosophies. It was like surreal. It was just like, for me, it was like just learning basketball from when I was like, it was learning basketball all over again, because everything that I knew just went out the window, because of how they just thought and looked at basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Luka Doncic said it was like in the NBA it's much easier to score than it was in the Euro League.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I've that's where, like, when I was in Israel, that's where I developed my post game, because I never really had a post game. It was more because I'm actually like a stretch four most of my career. And then when I went to Israel, I was actually working, and the way they developed my center position game actually was like amazing. And now, like, I weigh 220 on a good day, but you see me out there, I'm guarding Nathan Joai, and I'm going against him and scoring against him, the heaviest guy on the court, and it just tells you the fundamentals of how they play the game. That was like really, really cool,
That's true. I guess our final question to you is, what would your advice be to young kids that want to try and make a pro or go pro in the future of basketball?
What would be my advice? You have to have, well, for me, it's like, first, you have to have a motivation. You have to have something that's going to motivate you long term to keep you waking up and not giving up. Because unfortunately, despite how much time you succeed, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to doubt you. You're going to have a lot of obstacles. So your motivation has to always motivate you despite of everything that you go through. I mean, that's the first thing. The second thing is that you have to have self-belief. You have to believe in yourself. Despite of what happens, always believe yourself that you can do it. Most people say, like, okay, hard work this, hard work that, but it's just like human nature. If they want something, they're going to work for it. So I don't have to tell you to work hard. If you want it, you just know that to work hard. And then always know that, self-belief, and always have target goals that you want set for yourself. Like, don't just be like, all right, I'm out here playing basketball. Like, you got to be like, all right, cool. By this year, this time of the year, I want to make this team. This time of the year, I want to make this team. So you have a purpose of playing. You know what I'm saying? You have a purpose of actually going out there every day to do what you got to do, because you set yourself a time limit. So those are like the three things kind of like I kind of use, among a lot of things that I've used, but my main thing was like motivation. And my motivation was like, at first it was like just proving the shit talkers, proving them wrong. And then it became, okay, can I win a championship? Can I go to college? Can I make it to the NBA? Now it's just like, my goal now is just like, how many championships can I win? You know, that's literally like my goal in current. So I'm just like, I'm putting myself in positions where I'm just like, I'm getting win a championship, you know. Um, so that's my goal now. That keeps me going. Um, and then I always believed in myself, regardless of, I don't care who you are. You tell me I'm not good, I would tell you, all right, whatever, cool, thank you. And then I'll be like, throw the ball up and let's see what happens. Um, and then I always have set goals. So, like for me now being a professional at this age, it's like I always reinvest in my body, take care of my body. So my thing would be like, I make sure that I'm at a certain weight at a certain time. I make sure that I'm in certain fitness at a certain time. I make sure that I'm able to make. So now, like our season was stopped, and we're gonna start in 5 weeks. And in 5 weeks, my goal is to make 20,000 shots. You know what I'm saying? And that's my goal in those 5 weeks. So I always set myself goals that I'm going to be able to achieve, even before a game, like I'll be like, okay, so this is what I need to do out there, whether it's offensively, defensively, or whatever. If I'm playing against, for example, I'll use Nathan Joy as an example, because he's one of the best centers. If I'm playing against Nathan Joy, I'll tell myself, okay, I'll watch videos on him and I'll be like, all right, this is how I'm going to stop him. This is what I need to do. This is what I got to do tomorrow. And I'll go out there and actually work to get ready to play against him and use it. You know what I'm saying? So like you always have to set yourself a goal. Whether it's tomorrow, set yourself a goal for tomorrow, set yourself a goal for another day. That's the biggest thing. And one of the things that people don't actually use a lot is actually keeping a journal of everything that you do when it comes to what you want. From a young age, I've always kept a journal, whether I'm lifting weights or whether I'm on the basketball court, I always wrote down what I did that day.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then if I go back 3 weeks and I see a gap in the dates, because I date everything, and I feel like that day wasn't like rest day, I'll write the date and say rest day. You know what I'm saying? And if it wasn't a rest day and there was just a date missing, now I'm gonna be like, all right, I fucked up that day, so I need to make sure that don't happen again. So I think that's like a big thing as well that people kind of like don't utilize a lot. Keeping logs of everything. So it's just like for me, it's just like clocking into work.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So So.
Well.
And that was some amazing advice, and I think hopefully some people take that with them. And AJ, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
No problem.
We could have talked for hours. Your stories are endless and amazing. And anyway, guys, thanks for listening so much. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and 5 stars on Apple Podcast and Facebook. And thank you, AJ, for coming on. And I guess we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.